Hey everybody, what's up? Tim here with SCE. And as always, I hope you are doing awesome and that you're crushing it and that your day is epic. Thanks so much for watching. So right now, I'm filming from San Diego, California, and I'm back in my hotel room after spending 2 days with just a really great leadership team. And I love talking about leadership. I love working with leaders. I love seeing the light bulbs go on with folks, seeing them get excited, and then having them go back to their teams and their clients and absolutely light themselves, their people, and the world on fire. And if you were to look at leadership, there are thousands of books written on the topic. There are all kinds of speakers. There are literally millions of Google articles, and you can get lost in studying the subject of leadership. And of all the leadership research I've done and of everything I've seen, there is simply one story and one principle that I just keep coming back to that absolutely anchors me and makes the most sense for me. And when I've practiced it, I've done really well. And when I've violated it, I've paid the price. And I found that this is true for other people as well. So the title for today's shoot is The Most Powerful Leadership Principle I Know. And to summarize this leadership principle, I really discovered it in the form of a story. And the story works this way. There is a female executive, and one day she decides to work from home in her office. And as she's working from home, she's getting started and she's getting things done, but all of a sudden her 8-year-old daughter bursts through the door and says, Mommy, can you play with me? Can you play with me? And the female executive, the mom, gets really frustrated because she thought that she was going to be able to get a lot done at home, and she was going to be able to get the things accomplished that needed to get accomplished, and just really isolate herself in her office at home and get the things done that needed to happen and make business go forward. But now she's got her daughter in her room, and her daughter wants to play, so she's obviously conflicted. So she looks around the room, and as she's looking around the room trying to figure out what to do, trying to figure out how to respond to her daughter, on her coffee table she sees a magazine. And on the front of the magazine is a picture of the world. And it's a picture of the world that has all the countries outlined. So what she decides to do is she takes the scissors and she gets up, walks over to the magazine, rips off the front cover, takes the scissors and cuts the magazine cover into a couple hundred pieces. And she looks down at her daughter and she says, I would love to play with you, but in order to do that, I need you to put this picture back together. I need you to reconstruct the jigsaw puzzle. So the little girl goes, wow, I'm going to get to play with you if I put this together. So the little girl just absolutely tears into the puzzle and starts putting this picture back together. And the mom, the executive, walks away smiling to herself thinking, you know what, I got this. This is going to give me a couple hours. I'll be able to get work done and spend a little bit of time with her at the end of the day. So about 20 or 30 minutes goes by, and this lady feels a tug on her arm. And she looks over and here's her daughter. And her daughter has the magazine cover, and she's put it together almost perfectly. And the lady's shocked. She looks at her daughter and she goes, how in the world did you put this magazine cover together? I thought it would take you hours to do this. And the little girl says, well, flip the magazine cover over, Mom. So she flips the magazine cover over, and on the other side of the picture, on the other side of the magazine cover, is the picture of a woman's face that takes up the entire page. And the little girl says, Mommy, I knew that if I put the woman together right, the world would follow. And that's the leadership principle that I have found to be the most powerful out of anything I've ever looked at or anything I've ever examined or anything I've ever tried to practice. That if we put ourselves together right, everything else will follow. That if we put ourselves together right, our families will be put together right. If we put ourselves together right, our businesses will be put together, or our sports teams, or our not-for-profits, or our religious institutions, or our athletic or music teams, or whatever we are a part of. It all starts with us. And at the end of the day, you and I ultimately are responsible for leading ourselves. And I believe that's our most important priority. And then all the other roles that we have in life are secondary, because if we show up broken, if we show up incomplete, if we don't show up as our best selves, we're not going to be able to give that to anybody else. And leadership starts with us. And once again, it doesn't matter if you're leading a multinational corporation or if you're leading just you. Leadership starts on an individual basis, and it starts with you leading you because it's personalized. So how do you put yourself together? Well, I believe that fundamentally the number one way we do that is we have to ask ourselves, am I congruent with the values that I hold to be true? Am I honoring those things that I know to be true and right and good? And if I am, then I'm honoring my leadership vision. And for my life, for me, I found that when I've honored the values that I know are right and true, things work out. And when I've violated them, I've created tons of damage for myself and for other people. So are we following those values that we know to be true? Are we following them in the good times, and are we following them in the bad times? Because in the good times, we can get laxed and we can get sloppy. And in the bad times, it can be easy to compromise. Now, this all sits on top of the premise that you have an idea in your mind of what you look like when you're at your best. You have a vision, you have a picture of what you are looking like and what you're doing and what you're saying and who you're being when you're firing on all 8 cylinders, when everything's working well, when you're absolutely operating at your best. What does that look like? And are you congruent with that? And if you are, that's awesome. Keep at it. But if you're not, we then need to get ourselves back into that place of our ideal self. We need to get ourselves back into that leadership vision that we have when we're at our best, when we're functioning at our best, when we put ourselves together so we can show up at our maximum for everybody else. And the way you do that is easy. You just ask yourself, okay, this is my ideal of where I want to be from a leadership perspective, from a self-management perspective, from a self-leadership perspective. And it's different than where I am right now. So in other words, where I am now is different than when I'm at my ideal self or my grandest vision, or when I'm firing once again on all 8 cylinders. So what do I need to do to get back there? Well, you just ask yourself the start, stop, and continue questions. What do I need to start doing that I'm not currently doing that's going to propel me to get back to that ideal self, to that ideal picture of leadership, to where I'm absolutely in my highest level of performance, I'm taking care of myself and therefore able to take care of other people. And then you just start doing those things. Second thing is, what do I need to stop doing that's keeping me from operating in that vision that I have of myself, in that picture of ideal leadership when I'm absolutely at my peak? And then you stop doing those things. And then you ask yourself, what should I continue to do? So in other words, what am I doing that is working, that is congruent with my ideal self, with the grand vision that I have, with the ideal self that I am when absolutely everything's working for me and I'm just performing at my maximum? And then you continue to do those things. So the way to cross that gap from where you are to where you want to be, that ideal self, is simply start, stop, and continue. What do I need to start doing? What do I need to stop doing? And what should I continue to do? And then you do those things, because those are the things that have produced greatness for you. You know the answer. It's inside of you. You just have to pull it outside of yourself. And when you do those things, you will step into that vision of ideal leadership that you have for yourself. You will return to firing on all 8 cylinders. You will return to managing yourself and therefore being able to manage other people. You will return to leading yourself and therefore being able to lead other people. So the most powerful leadership principle I've ever found is that when we put ourselves together right, the world will follow. When we put ourselves together right, our families will be put together right. Our businesses, our not-for-profits, our religious institutions, whatever we're involved in, when we are together, we can bring that energy of wholeness and excellence into everything that we touch. And we do that by simply practicing start, stop, and continue, and strive for that ideal picture that we have where we are our ideal self, we're at our peak. We know we've done it before, and therefore we can do it again. And start, stop, and continue bridges the gap for that. So what is the super leadership principle? What is the ideal, perfect, powerful leadership principle that I found that I keep coming back to that serves as my anchor? It's simply that if I put myself together right, everything else is going to work out. But when I'm not together, doesn't matter what I do, I'm not going to get to where I want to go. And I'm going to run things sideways for myself and for other people in the process. So this is Tim with today's SCE. I hope you found that helpful. Put yourself together and the world will follow. Thanks so much for watching. Have an awesome day, and I'll talk to you soon.